Before you are 4 books, and each one is about to tell your story. This mindset audit will reveal your hidden potential and show the true state of your soul. Today, your cold reason will send a direct signal about where you are losing your footing and where your real strength lies. Make your choice now, guided by the first impulse that arises within you. Your story is already recorded on these pages. All that remains is to open it and realize its truth. You will discover a story that will help you understand what you truly feel and where you need to go next. Marcus Aurelius believed that the quality of a person's life depends solely on the discipline of their own mind. His writings were not mere theory, they were practical instructions for maintaining internal peace amidst the chaos of governing a vast empire. He believed that any life situation is merely material from which the mind must forge resilience and clarity. Today, these 4 books replace that very journal, helping you conduct an honest revision of your thoughts. The philosophy of Stoicism requires us to look the truth in the eye, even if that truth seems uncomfortable or harsh. Your choice is not a coincidence, but a direct reflection of how your mind is interacting with reality at this moment. Look at the screen once more and finalize your choice. You are about to hear the story that relates specifically to you and your current state. Book 1, The Trap of Time. If you chose the first book, we are opening it now to examine the state of your spirit through the lens of time. Recall the story of 2 men who lived in ancient Rome more than 1,000 years ago. One of them sat in a festive square, surrounded by a cheering crowd and an abundance of food. Despite the warm sun and fresh fruits on the tables, his face was distorted by deep sorrow. His friend approached and asked why, on such a beautiful day, he was not rejoicing with everyone else. The man replied that many years ago he had made a fatal mistake that he regrets to this day. This decision lies like a stone on his heart, poisoning every memory of the years he has lived. Furthermore, he confessed that he is tormented by the fear of an unknown future and possible misfortunes. His friend embraced him and said that he too had made mistakes, and also did not know what tomorrow would bring. However, he reminded him that right now, the sun warms the guilty and the righteous equally. The celebration continues, and the cold drink in the cup remains delicious at this very moment. The man realized that he was robbing himself of life by refusing to see reality because of the ghosts of the past. This story shows how easily our mind can become a prison if we lose our connection to the present. The past is merely an archive that can no longer be rewritten or physically changed. The future is a cloud of probabilities, most of which will never become reality. Living in these 2 points means voluntarily giving your life force to emptiness and shadows. Stoicism teaches us that the only time that truly belongs to us is the current second. We often use past failures as an excuse for our current passivity and sadness. We fear the future, hoping that this fear will help us prepare for the blows of fate. But in reality, anxiety only exhausts our cold reason, making us weak in the face of reality. A rational person understands that yesterday's mistakes are merely experience that has already been paid for. And tomorrow's worries are not worth spoiling the taste of today's festive dinner with. Real life happens exactly where your body is, not where your wandering thoughts are. You chose this book because you are a person who highly values clarity and predictability. Your memory constantly tosses you fragments of the past, which you replay over and over again. You are prone to deep reflection, trying to find logic in your old and already unimportant actions. You also spend enormous resources on detailed planning for the future, trying to avoid any chaos. However, behind this pursuit of order lies an inability to feel the genuine depth of life itself. You can be in the thick of events, but mentally absent, thinking about yesterday's words. Your attachment to past experience makes you less flexible and heavy on the uptake. You often wait for that very moment in the future to start living, missing current opportunities. This state indicates that your potential is blocked by your own expectations and old grievances. You need to learn to return your attention to the here and now through a sheer effort of will. Notice the taste of food, the texture of objects, and the sounds around you in real time. Not a single event from your past has power over your today unless you grant it. Plan your affairs, but do not live in them, leaving room for spontaneity and the current moment. Understand that your strength is your attention, and only you decide where to direct it. Become the one who lives every minute with open eyes and a cold, clear mind. You are the master of your current focus, and that focus determines your happiness. Stop living in a world of ghosts and start building your reality in the present. Your mind is a tool for action, not a museum of regrets or a theater of worries. If this story resonated with you and your choice matched the answer you were looking for, be sure to write in the comments what specific event from your past or what future scenario most often disconnects you from reality at the most inconvenient moment. Subscribe to the channel to daily cultivate your spirit and maintain clarity of mind. Book 2, The Balance of Will and Matter. If you chose the second book, listen to the story of how the material can blind even the strongest mind. In a wealthy trading city lived a man who set a goal to buy every shop in the district. He believed that every new acquisition, whether land, fabric, or gold, made his spirit stronger. He hoarded coins with such passion that he stopped noticing how his mind and soul began to feud. His soul demanded a simple craft and quiet walks, but his mind dictated new deals and the chase. Eventually, he accumulated untold riches, but found that he could not buy a single drop of peace. Money became for him not a tool of freedom, but a master that kept him eternally nervous. He realized that material things possessed his mind far more than he possessed his treasure chests. On the day when his mind and soul finally parted ways, he felt like the poorest man among his peers. This parable clearly shows what happens when external goods become the sole meaning of your existence. Materialism is a trap in which a person loses connection with their values for the sake of accumulating empty decorations. Money should be the result of a correctly chosen path, not its only and final goal. When we chase things, we hand over the key to our tranquility to the hands of fickle fate. A Stoic understands that true wealth is not what we have, but what we can easily do without. The discord between the call of your soul and the dictates of a cold mind creates a deep internal emptiness and longing. A person's true work lies at the intersection of their talents and utility, not in the volume of their property. Things have a tendency to break and disappear, and if your personality is tied to them, you will disappear too. You chose this story because right now in your life, material pursuits have begun to suppress the spirit. You are in a state where external indicators of success have stopped bringing you the expected joy and satisfaction. It seems to you that one more purchase or achievement will close the hole inside, but this is only an illusion. Your mind is fixated on profit and status, ignoring the quiet call of your true internal purpose. If you came across this story, it means it is time to stop chasing external glitter and tinsel. You need to find that very golden mean, where your practicality will be combined with moral principles. Be very selective about what you spend your time on, for it is more valuable than any gold. Stop measuring your success by others' standards of consumption and externally imposed values and desires. Find a task that makes your mind work, but at the same time brings deep peace to your soul. When you synchronize your goals with the demands of your conscience, resources will begin to enter your life more easily. Money is attracted to those who maintain a cold mind and a pure heart, not allowing greed to cloud their vision. Your task is to become the master of your desires, not the slave of your eternally growing needs and ambitions. Only a person who knows how to be happy with little is truly ready to possess something truly great. Clear your space of the unnecessary, and focus on what truly develops your personality and will. Balance your ambitions with your internal world, and you will see how life takes on new colors. You are more than the things you own and the numbers in your account. Focus on building that character, and the material world will fall into place around you. True abundance starts from within and spreads outward to your physical environment. If your choice truly coincided with the state of your consciousness, write in the comments, if all your material goals were achieved tomorrow, what true work of your soul would remain with you forever and why? Subscribe to harden your mind with us and build a life on a solid foundation of meaning. Book 3. Silence Without Comparison. If the choice fell on the third book, it is time to open the story of the destructive power of ego and comparison. In an ancient city lived two craftsmen who worked with stone and created statues for the square. One of them worked calmly, focusing on every strike of the chisel and the quality of the marble itself. The second constantly peered into the other's workshop, checking if the neighbor's work had become more famous. He wanted so badly to surpass his colleague that he began to copy his techniques, losing his own style. Every time people praised the neighbor's work, this craftsman fell into a rage or deep melancholy. His own tools grew dull from neglect, and his spirit became weak and full of envy for others' successes. He stopped noticing the beauty of the sunset over the city, because he only counted the number of orders his competitor had. Eventually, he lost his skill and was left alone with his dissatisfaction and empty ambitions. This story teaches us that true significance cannot be built on a foundation of rivalry. When you compare your path with another's, you voluntarily hand over your peace to the hands of those around you. Stoicism teaches us that the only competition that makes sense is the competition with your yesterday's self. Your ego forces you to seek external confirmation of your value, which will always be temporary and fragile. True stability comes when you reduce the scale of your own I to the size of objective reality. The world is vast, and your personal successes or failures against the backdrop of eternity mean much less than you are used to thinking. This realization should not frighten you. It should bring incredible relief and freedom from expectations. He who does not need comparisons gains a cold and clear mind capable of great things. You chose this story because right now you are too focused on others' results and achievements. You look into social mirrors and feel bitterness if your reflection seems less bright to you. This suggests that your self-esteem lacks an internal core and depends entirely on the external agenda. You spend mental energy on envy and self-flagellation instead of investing it in your growth. Your potential is enormous, but it stalls because you are constantly looking back at those walking nearby. It seems to you that the recognition of others will make you happier, but this is another trap of your restless mind. It is time to stop measuring your life with others' rulers and standards that do not belong to you. Your task is to focus on your work as if there were no other masters of your profile in the world. Reduce your significance in your own eyes. Become simpler and more honest in your daily actions. True dignity manifests in silence, not in shouts about your superiority over someone else. When you gain this internal independence, comparisons will stop wounding your soul and distracting your mind. Stop seeking approval and start seeking mastery within every one of your actions. Only in this silence without comparison is a real character and genuine internal freedom born. Take a step toward yourself, stopping the monitoring of other people's steps on their own roads. Realize that your value is absolute and does not need constant propping up by the success of others. Focus on the intrinsic value of your actions and the quality of your own character. This is the only way to build a life that is truly yours and not a shadow of someone else's. Your internal peace is worth more than any external status or social standing. Silence the noise of comparison and listen to the voice of your own reason. If this story resonated with you, be sure to share in the comments. In what specific area of life do you most often feel inadequate when comparing yourself to others, and what do you think is truly behind this feeling? Subscribe to the channel to cultivate your spirit in the silence and clarity of Stoic tranquility. Book 4, The Art of Accepting the Flow. The fourth book opens the truth about how dangerous it is to excessively pressure the world, trying to bend it to your will. In a village at the foot of the mountains lived a man who believed he could stop a landslide with his shout. Every day he went out onto the slope and demanded of nature that the stones and snow stay in their places. He spent all his strength on this meaningless confrontation, forgetting to strengthen the walls of his own house. When the time for change came, the mountain did not hear his demands, and he was left under the rubble of his unfulfilled plans. Another resident simply noticed the movement of the slope in time and moved his house to a safe place, using the terrain. The first considered his behavior heroism and willpower, while the second understood it was simply a struggle against the inevitable. This parable reminds us that the world is not obliged to revolve around our plans or meet our expectations. Excessive pressure on circumstances always causes a counterstrike that can be fatal for you. True wisdom lies in seeing open opportunities where others see insurmountable walls. Stoicism teaches us to accept what we cannot change with a cold mind and without unnecessary emotions. When you let go of a situation, you are not giving up, you are simply preserving your resources for truly important matters. The world is flexible, and you must be flexible along with it to achieve your goals without strain. Stubbornness often disguises itself as persistence, but it only exhausts your soul and clouds your cold reason. If you chose this story, it is a clear sign that you are currently in a state of rigid deadlock with reality. You are trying to force people to behave the way you want and getting angry when they show their own will. You are pressuring work processes, trying to speed up what requires time and natural ripening. This pressure creates a field of tension around you that repels the necessary options and fresh solutions. Your potential is currently blocked by your own desire to control absolutely every detail around you. You feel tired precisely because your strength is going into resisting the natural course of events. It is time to admit that you are not all-powerful, and in this admission lies your greatest opportunity. Loosen your grip and allow the situation to develop as it develops, without your aggressive participation. Look at the world not as an enemy to be defeated, but as a flow in which you must learn to swim. Cold reason will tell you the best moment for action if you stop shouting at circumstances. Your task is to find peace in accepting what you cannot change right here and now. This will give you clarity of vision to see new doors that were previously closed by your stubbornness. Stop demanding guarantees from life and start trusting your ability to adapt to any turn. True strength is not in standing still under the blows of fate, but in moving with it. Let go of control, and you will see how the world begins to help you achieve your most ambitious goals. Your state of soul will improve as soon as you stop this exhausting war with reality. Learn the art of small steps in the conditions that have already been created by life itself around you. True power comes from knowing when to act and when to yield to the forces around you. Your resilience is found in your adaptability, not in your rigidity or stubbornness. If this mindset audit coincided with your internal search, write in the comments. What specific situation in your life are you currently trying to ram with your head? And what first step will you take if you decide to simply stop pressuring it? Subscribe to cultivate your spirit and learn to manage the only thing that is truly under your control, your own mind.